Hi, folks. Steve Urban here, host of the Riderflex podcast and founder and CEO of our day job recruiting firm, Riderflex. We hope you enjoy this episode. And as a reminder, please subscribe to the podcast for updates and news. Finally, if you haven't already, check out the series of books we've published on hiring, interviewing, and overall career advice titled The Riderflex Guide, available on Amazon. And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Most homeowners don't have the time or expertise to properly take care of their home, which causes costly issues to arise. That's where Kira Home Maintenance comes in. We're a full-service, routine maintenance company that was developed by a certified home inspector. Each quarter, we service our clients' homes following manufacturer's recommendations to properly maintain all the necessary appliances. We provide the materials and expertise to prolong the life of your property, creating a healthy and efficient environment for your family. From top to bottom, we'll maintain and service your home. To get started, we have a property inspection to determine what needs to be maintained, and a maintenance plan is created based on your preferences. From refrigerator coils to filters, vents, and drains, we do it all, and we do it well. Contact us today for your free routine maintenance inspection, and never worry about your maintenance again.
All right. You ready to rock and roll?
Hell yeah. Wait, is that moonshine? I'm digging it, man. You got a little
Not
moonshine
yet,
going?
not yet, but call me after 5. You never know what's going on here.
Where are you based out of? Where are you?
I'm in Colorado. Are you in Jersey, East Coast?
I'm in Jersey, but we do have an office in Castle Rock.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jersey, my wife and I this last weekend watched an old movie that I hadn't seen called The Drop. You seen The Drop? Have you ever seen The Drop?
No.
It's about bars in Jersey where the mob uses them as drops for bets for cash.
Okay. No, I never saw that.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's in it, and the guy that was in The Sopranos was in it. It's pretty good. Anyway, speaking of Jersey,
Awesome.
not to give you a bad name where it's just full of cash and mobsters. I'm not insinuating.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. But we do have good Italian food.
Yes, absolutely.
And bagels.
All right.
And bagels.
Ivo Allen on the Riderflex podcast. Ivo, how are you, sir?
Good. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing just fine. Very nice to meet you. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Interesting product/service you got going on. I want to get into it as it benefits a lot of people, saves lives, etc. But before we do that, let's talk about Ivo, the person. What mom, dad, siblings, where you grew up. Let's go way back at the beginning. Give me some stuff.
Wow, you want to go all the way back, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I grew up in a one-horse town called Carmel, New York, where the most exciting thing that ever happened is we got a McDonald's. And I ended up, leaving there and going from the middle of New York State, where nothing happens, to Daytona Beach, Florida, on the shore, and went to Embry-Riddle to be a pilot. Not wanting to go back to, not wanting to live in Florida because I didn't want to be classified as a Florida man. Okay. And wanted to go back to New York, back in the Northeast, and ended up going to the Jersey Shore, living in Seabright, right on the beach, and that's how I got to Jersey. It was Florida, like maybe close to the being on the beach, close to the water, and I liked it, but again, it's Florida, and I'm not 80 years old, so it wasn't by law that I was required to move there, so. Got the hell out of there before it became permanent.
And your parents, are they still with us, or?
No, they passed a while ago. My mother was a Ford model and my father was an illustrator for Sports Illustrated.
What? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
wow.
that's how, my whole life I grew up. When I was 7 years old, my first fishing trip with my father was to Walker's Key in the Bahamas. And I've just, I've been fishing all over the world with my father, and that's how I got, stuck on it. And to this day, we fish, I probably go out fishing once a month now.
Really? Okay. Now, did your dad? I just read there's news about Sports Illustrated now about that they're going under or they got bought or
Yeah.
there's something. It's not good for them right now. I don't think.
No, but again, you keep in mind this is going back into the late 70s,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Totally different deal.
I'm dating myself then, but back then it was the trip was an illustrator and his son and a writer and his son, right? And they would go all over the world. When I was 10 years old, I was, in the Bahamas, Panama, Costa Rica,
Nice.
Venezuela. I've been fishing all over the
Nice.
world,
Nice. 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 Did you get to go on the
And
swimsuit? Did you get to go on the swimsuit
no,
issue?
no, no,
No.
no,
Okay.
no, 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 not
Okay.
at all.
Okay. No. Wow. That's all right. That's okay. It's still cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
Siblings?
I have an older sister and a younger sister.
Okay.
And,
And they're alive. They're doing fine. They're
yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. One's in Marietta, Georgia, and the other one I think is in Texas. Yeah, down in Dallas, Texas.
Okay. And yourself, married, kids, single? What's going on with you?
Yeah, married for 33. Actually, no, I'm married 30 years. 30 years, and together with my wife for 33 years.
Damn. When did you guys meet? When you were 16, 17?
No, 91. 1991.
Okay.
And
How'd
then
you meet
got
her?
and then got married in 1993.
Okay. How'd you guys meet?
Blind date.
Really? Some friends set you up? Seriously?
Yes, we got two friends. Two friends, and dude, back then I looked like Vanilla Ice, right? Really, it was Ice Baby. I had the hair. I was living on the beach in Seabright. I was jet skiing out of the workday. I was probably jet skiing 5 hours out of the 8 every day. And it was just, and no one said that we would last, but it is what it is. 33 years later with the same girl.
Pretty cool.
And
Pretty cool.
and the crazy thing is 911 Inform is actually my wife's idea. We'll get into that, but I can't
Okay.
I can't take credit for it because it was actually her idea.
Okay. Kids, grandkids?
Two kids, Hunter and Meadow. And Hunter is the lead developer at 911 Inform. And my daughter, Meadow, she's in her doctorate for neuropsychology up in William Patterson, Willie P.
Oh, all right. Wow. All right. Very good.
Yeah.
That's hey, you got to be proud of that.
Yeah, so my kids are way smarter than I am.
Why did you think you wanted to be a pilot? Where'd that come from? Was there a family member or something? How did that come in?
No. Just again, it was growing up in New York, there was nothing excited. We had a little municipal airport there, so just wanted to be a pilot. And then I realized it again back in the day in 1984. Pilots weren't, what they are today. Now, you can be 24 years old and be flying a G5. But back then they had the big exodus from the military. And when you graduate, you have a, multi-engine turboprop and, you need, 1,500 hours of jet training. So you'd have to get picked up by, an airline. Back in the day, it was Eastern Airlines. I don't know if you remember Eastern.
Yeah.
But and they had the big exodus from the military in the 80s. So there wasn't a lot of money in it. It wasn't, and a lot of my friends love to fly and they still fly. But, for me, it wasn't a career, back then. You had to work at it a long time to make money. Today, it's a different story. It's a shortage of pilots. You can go to school, spend 50 grand yourself on getting your certs, and you're getting picked up and you're flying private, you're flying jets. So different world today.
So you graduated high school in what, 81?
What's that? 82.
82. Okay. I graduated high school in
82.
85. You know what my favorite thing about what's that?
Dude, you look way younger than you are, man. I'm impressed.
Well, I got all the filters on my screen and everything.
Oh, okay.
You know what my favorite part about the 80s were in high school and college? But my favorite thing actually was not being able to be found. Like when I left in my car.
Oh my God. Right.
Like you weren't going to find me till I came back. Like you couldn't, there's no GPS tracker. There's no phone. There's no cell phones. I feel sorry for young people today. Like they can't get away with anything.
Wait, over the summer, right? Over the summer, your parents would say, be back in dinner's at 6. And you were gone for your parents had no idea where you were. They weren't tracking you with Life 360. They weren't doing anything.
No,
It was
no.
crazy. Different back then.
Totally different world. Totally different world. I had no idea what I was doing,
Right.
which is probably a
And
good
and
thing.
and the police, think about it. When you were a kid, the worst thing a cop, if you did something wrong, the worst thing a cop could do was not take you to jail, was take you back to your parents,
That's right.
right? So if you
That's
did
right.
something wrong, oh, I'm going to bring you back to your parents. No, 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 take me to jail. No, I'd rather go to jail instead of dealing with my father and mother, right?
So I'm looking at your LinkedIn and I was trying to do a little research. You obviously have had tell me about a little bit about your career before 911 and kind of
Yeah.
walk me
So
into
I
how
work.
that happened. Yeah.
So being a pilot, going to school for a pilot, I learned really, really good troubleshooting skills, which worked well in IT.
Okay.
So I got into IT, started working my way up through the ranks, working in Manhattan
Okay.
and doing a lot of IT. And then it's funny because my wife, I come home from work on a Thursday night, and my wife said I'm pregnant. Right, I found out that my wife is pregnant. Now
How
we always said that we were going to name our first child Hunter. We like the name Hunter. So
all right.
whether it was a boy or a girl, it would be Hunter. So Friday morning, I'm living in Howell, New Jersey. I'm driving to Red Bank. I'm taking the commuter into Manhattan, and I'm sitting on the train going in, and I'm like, I just want quality of life. I don't want to sit there and do this, and I want to be my own boss. So that was my inspiration for starting Hunter Technologies,
Okay.
which is a government contractor based here in New Jersey. And for me, I said, look, if I'm going to start a business, I need motivation. And having a pregnant wife, actually, having a pregnant Greek wife at home, I had to be successful. Otherwise, I would have been, she would have murdered me.
Her dad would have killed you.
So yeah, so it was the motivation, to be successful. And back then, I started my company, out of my house and with my American
Cool.
Express card, and I
Cool.
had to
Cool.
close deals and be successful, and it was, that was the motivation.
Talk about stress now, because when your wife got pregnant right there, I'm assuming at some point she stopped working or wasn't working at least for a little while, right?
Yeah, no,
And
she
so
stopped working.
you have a startup going on and cash is
Yep.
tight and now you're starting to put expenses on a card and you're like, oh man, I hope this shit works.
Oh yeah. But but you know what? That's the motivation. It's just today. It's the environment in business. It's too easy, right? There's just, for me, it was, I had a pregnant wife. If I didn't close a deal, if I didn't get paid, and again, one of the things, part of what we did was execute. And for me, a lot of people are in business, and it drives me crazy today because, you're doing a project, you'll have 17 meetings about that project that literally can get done in 2, right? And for me, it was about, driving, imposing my will on the clients and getting the job done and working out terms to get paid on time. And it was, it was a different time then. Now it's, people are raising capital, they're doing this, and it's all about ROAS and all these other things. And when you get down to it, it's about ringing the register. It's about closing that deal and getting paid. Cashing the check is what it comes down to.
And executing, right? I mean, so many people
Execute.
they just don't execute. They just don't execute, or they're assholes, or both, or
Well,
both.
the thing about it is, when you look at, and again, Hunter Technologies is a government contractor in New Jersey. We do about over 30% of all the municipalities and police in the state. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome.
And I learned a long time ago, if we went in and did a really, really good job, I would
There you
have
go.
to beg, borrow, and plead to get a referral. And half the time they're like, well, we're a police department. We can't give out endorsements. We can't do that,
Oh,
so,
yeah.
but
Okay.
so it was hard to get a referral. But if I went and screwed something up, they would tell 50 people that I sucked. So it was really I learned early on that it's about execution, because if you're able to execute and you have a happy customer, it will pay dividends,
Yeah,
and
totally.
so many people, I've seen so many companies that, they're selling widgets. I don't care what it is. and they focus, okay, well, we're going to hire 17 salespeople. We're going to do this, and and they're lacking on the install. They're lacking on the customer
That's right.
service,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
And every one of those companies failed with, with 911 Inform. We focus, and we started out with the developers and developing the product. We worked on the product for 3 years before we ever launched.
Mhm.
And we brought in the installation staff. We brought in the operations. So it was, my companies have always been focused on the tech side first and then the sales side, right?
Gotcha.
Because again, because you go in and do a good job, they're gonna tell people about it, right? So it
Yes.
works out that way. So
And
that's our focus.
and you've had Hunter Technologies for almost 30 years. How is it still, are you still running that with 911 Inform, or how are they tied
No.
together? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's kind of on autopilot. I have a great crew, and let me tell you, hiring the right people is the most important thing about a company.
Got that
You
right. You
have
got
to
that right.
get the right person, because and I'll tell you, the average employee time at Hunter Technologies is 18 years, 17 years. That's how long my employees have been with us. So,
Well,
and
I was just talking to Jennifer. She should have been there 20 years.
oh yeah, Jennifer has been with me for 20 years. Yeah.
Wow.
But again, when you have good people, that's what it's about. Because the biggest thing that I saw was, when I got focused in the day-to-day grind of executing everything, then I wasn't leading the company. I wasn't going out and closing more deals. I wasn't driving the next innovation. So you really have to have really, really good people that support you, support your vision, what you're doing, and that's the key to success, really.
Did you ever have to raise cash for that entity, or it just bootstrapped
No.
and okay, great.
Bootstrapped. Yeah, just started,
Yeah,
bootstrapped it,
great.
and again, with 911 Inform, when we launched the product, it was, everyone that saw it was basically said, this is game changing. I've never seen anything like it. And that's when I decided to raise capital, because to scale it,
Yep.
right? Because what's going to happen is, I don't care what you do. Again, you're making a widget. You make the best widget. There's 5 people behind you copying
Totally.
you and going to make widgets and compete against you. So it
Yep.
was about being able to scale and
Speed to
scale
market.
quickly.
Speed to market.
Speed to market was the thing that it was really about for me, and that's why I decided to raise capital.
Okay,
And
how did it even come about? Walk us through the story of how this came to be,
yeah,
911. And by the way, for the listeners, and I correct me if I'm wrong, but it's inform.911inform.com, correct?
no, just
Oh,
911 Inform. Just
it's just
911inform.com.
911 inform. I'm looking at the, okay, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yep,
It's just
911 Inform.
911inform.com. Sorry, everybody.
Yep. No, not
911inform.com.
a problem.
Tell us
Yeah, so
how this came to be. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going back 8 years now, 7.5 years. My wife and I are watching the Dateline episode on the school shootings.
Okay.
And in that episode, they said that 80% of fatalities in a mass shooting event, whether it's a school or workplace, or 80% of the fatalities are from non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. People just bleed out. And my wife, turns to me and she goes, "Why is that? You do all the police and you do all the schools in New Jersey. Why is that?" And I said, I don't know. Because again, my area of expertise was the networking, telecommunications, that sort of thing. I wasn't involved in the physical security side and that sort of thing. I wasn't doing cameras or door access or any of that stuff.
Okay.
And I said, I don't know. So I started talking to the police departments that we had, and I started talking to schools, and there was a ton of software out there. But in looking at it, an emergency, an active shooter event, or a medical emergency in a school is over an average of 8 minutes. In 8 minutes, it's over. And you have the police departments, you have the schools, you have the SROs, you have all this stuff, and they have all these different software packages. In that emergency, no one's logging into a software. No one has situational awareness. When something's going on, an officer, that's responding to a mass shooting, or someone with a weapon, they're not going to log into software.
No.
They're not. And
No.
if they do have software, in talking with the police departments, the ones that did have cameras, they would have to log into the NVR, or the network video recorder. They're not doing that.
No.
Or they'd have to log into all this stuff. So I went back to my wife and I said, yeah, there's a ton of stuff out there, but really the paradigm is broken, because none of it's used in an actual emergency. And she goes, well, you need to fix it. So to save my marriage, I basically started developing 911 Inform.
I like your wife already. We should have brought her on the show.
I'm sure Jennifer can get her on if you want.
So,
But
okay, yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, so it was, I agreed with it because the model is broken. And, for me, it was, going out and researching. And again, I committed over 4 million personally and 3.5 years of development before I even priced it or sold it. I was working with schools, I was working with police and saying, what do you need? And they're like, well, what do cops want? No login, right? They don't want to have to sit there and log in anything. They don't want to have apps, right? No officer is going to put an app on his phone because anything installed on an officer's personal device, it makes his personal device discoverable. So they're not going to use it, right?
I see.
So the whole thing was, was for us to develop a software that gave the police situational awareness in real time with no login, no app, bridging that communication. And really it was 3 years of going out to different police departments and talking to school districts that had, that actually had active shooter events and in severe medical emergencies or weapons or lockdowns and said, okay, what do you guys need? What worked, what didn't work, and we built it. And when we finally started launching in we did a soft launch in 2019, just within New Jersey, and literally within the first 6 months, everybody that we showed it to said, "I want to buy it."
How about that?
And that's when we really and the police that were looking at it were like, this is game changing. This is game changing for us. And that's when we said, yeah, we definitely have something here. We definitely have changed the model in public safety. And that's when I decided to really scale it and actually raise capital, and do it
Before
that
we
way.
before we get into the raise capital piece, we better take a pause for the listeners and just let's give them, because some of them are still probably like, okay, what is 911 Inform? Give the listeners the elevator pitch from 30,000 feet on exactly what the service is. Go for it.
Yeah. So 911 Inform is an overlying layer that provides communication, situational awareness for schools, enterprise, higher ed. And what we do is when there's a 911 call, whether it be from the phone in the office, from a cell phone, or from a panic button in a school, 911 Inform provides complete situational awareness. We connect to over 250. We have over 250 integrations into our stack. So whether it be the cameras, the phone system, the door access system, environmental, the paging, the mass notification to parents, the student information system, we connect into all of that in real time and present all the information that's pertinent to that emergency to police in real time. So if you think about, what happens in a typical school, someone dials 911. And all of a sudden the police show up at the front door and say someone dialed 911. They don't know about it. With 911 Inform in that building, someone dials 911 before the phone is even answered by the police department, the SRO, the principal, the student, even the police department, the patrol cars that are in the road, the MDTs, they get an alert sub-second that, hey, you have a 911 call happening right here, right now.
Cool.
So with that, that's how, in New Jersey, we cut the response time to emergency by 60%. And the other thing that's different about 911 Inform is there's a lot of companies out there, and let me tell you, there's some great companies out there. Like you look at Zero Eyes, you look at, Verdanka, you look at these companies that are really making a difference. But in order to get their technology, you have to buy their hardware. And all these, you think of a school, they've spent millions of dollars on their cameras. They've already spent millions of dollars on the door access system. So for us, it was being vendor agnostic and being able, whatever that school district has, I don't care if you have an Avaya phone system, a Cisco phone system, Ring Central, it doesn't matter. We connect to it, we bridge it all together. And then at the end of that event, we basically, we have full accountability and recording on everything. So exactly what the principal did, exactly what the SRO did, exactly what the police did, if they open doors, lock doors. So everything is accountable at the end of it. And since it's done in real time, and here's really the big game changer, right? So when you think about schools and they drill once a month on an active shooter event, and everyone that we've talked to, when they had an actual active shooter event, no one followed procedure because it's human nature. when you train something once a month and all of a sudden adrenaline kicks in something bad, you're not going to remember that. It's not muscle memory, right? That's why officers train every single day. So with 911 Inform, we built the product that's used every single day. So whether it's a fight in the cafeteria,
I see.
a mental health issue, we trigger on that. You have, believe it or not, angry parent at the front desk. Someone's sitting there screaming at the secretary on the front desk. She wants to get help. She can dial a code on her phone and it alerts everyone. So with 911 Inform, and I'll drop some names here, like East Brunswick Board of Ed in East Brunswick, New Jersey, 13 schools. 911 Inform is probably used about 10 times a day. So the fact that a day.
Is it, I don't know, I'm getting feedback. Is it like a student's beating up a teacher or whatever? There's a fight in the hallway, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. So you have a fight in the hallway. You have a mental health issue. You have have a nurse, you have a nurse or a counselor. They're with a student and the student's getting agitated. They can dial a code they can dial 988 on their phone. It alerts everyone that, hey, I have an issue in my room in real time. We can also, with the environmental that we're launching, we can detect mold growing in, there, environmental issues, the whole new, the ASHRAE building standards for air quality indoors, that's changing. You're going to see new laws coming out on that. So so 911 Inform takes all that information, all that technology, and we bridge it into something that, again, that the staff is going to use every single day, and it's going to be muscle memory.
Do you almost wish you had called it something else instead of 911 Inform? Maybe it was Inform Global or Inform Worldwide or Inform.
Yeah, because originally when we started, it was about, just treating the 911 emergencies. And then we started, diving in and looking at, how it was used. And, and again, we had a lot, we have some police that are working for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Again, in talking with them, it's like, cops train every single day. They're constantly trained. They're constantly doing things. Yeah. And it's about muscle memory. And, so it's about, we try to make a product that's going to be used every day. So that way, God forbid, if something tragic happens, it's there for them and it can mitigate it, right? So if you look at, the school shootings, and in majority of school shootings, there are 911 calls to the police that say, hey, I see someone in the parking lot with a weapon. The police can't lock down that building in time. Now with 911 Inform, that dispatcher, as soon as they see that, they get that call, hey, I see someone in the parking lot with a weapon, one button, they can lock down that school. They can follow that MOU of an active shooter.
So let me ask you, what's the, I don't know, I'm getting feedback on my mic. What is the business model? Are you selling to municipalities, to the cities, to the school board?
All the above. All of the above. So the schools, the schools are the low hanging fruit in this industry, in public safety. There's a lot of grant money going towards them and that sort of thing. So that was the low hanging fruit. But the other thing is, enterprise. And again, enterprise, there's a couple of federal laws. You have Kerry's Law, where they have to be able to dial 911 from any phone, and they have Ray Bombs Act, which is a federal law that they have to report a dispatchable location. So before Ray Bombs Act, it was, if I dialed 911 from my phone, it would just say, I'm sorry, 911 Inform Office, 1709 Highway 35, Wall, New Jersey. Well, with the new law that went into effect on January 6, 2020, 2021, it was, you now have to provide a dispatchable location. So now when someone dials 911, the police have to sit there and say, okay, it's coming from classroom 303 on the 3rd floor, East Wing. You now have to have a dispatchable location. And we already built 911 Inform to connect into the phone system. So when that law came out, it was easy for us to transition into providing Ray Bombs compliancy and that sort of thing.
How about that?
So yeah, and that's really, when you look at companies out there, Bloomberg, for example, is deploying 911 Inform in all 800 offices in 59 countries.
What?
Home Depot, Southwest Airlines, AAA. So it's not just for schools. It's really enterprise is focusing on that as well.
Did you know when you built this, you built it for schools? Did you know it was going to take off into private
No,
companies
it's
and no,
no,
no.
it's got no. It was about again all it was the perfect example is Stanley, right? The Stanley cups,
Okay.
the
Yep.
cups that all the
Uh-huh.
women, right? They were I think they've been in business for over 100 years. And several years ago, they did $73 million was their annual revenue. And they were focused on the workplace and keeping, they brought in and changed their model, right? So they didn't change their product, they changed their customer. And they started going out, they started doing pastel colors, they started going after the wives and, and the ladies and that sort of thing. And they went from $73 million a year after 100 years. I think they're now at $700 million a year. So they didn't change their product, they changed their customer, right? So let that be a lesson. I mean, that's,
And can you share how big the company? I don't know what you want to share. I know it's a private company. How many employees, or give us how big
yes.
is?
Yeah, so we're under 60, we're under 60 employees now. And in 2024, we're going to do about 30 million.
Wow. And and that'll be your what, eighth, ninth, how many years?
Oh, well, 4 years. That's our fourth year. Because keep in
Four.
mind, yep.
Holy cow. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's a big time growth. Congratulations. Did you talk to me about the cash you've had to raise, and have you, for the listeners, I always get this question. A lot of people always email and dial in with this question around cap tables and ownership and equity and blah, blah, blah. How much cash have you raised? Are you raising any more? And do you, Ivo, still have control?
Yeah. So we actually started and we did our A round. And we started the A round in 2020, right? We started the A round in 20 and we were slotted, we were raising $5 million.
Okay.
And $5 million, and we were given a $40 million valuation. We raised it at $1 a share. Okay.
Okay. Wow.
And that was oversubscribed. And the other thing is, it's very hard. There's a lot of people out there that say they can raise capital, and they really don't, right? They really don't. And it took me some time to find the right people, right? And my advice to anyone that's going to raise capital, you have to go to someone that has done it before and been successful at it, because there's a lot of people. So you have to look at their resumes, you have to look at their success. And we brought in, and it goes back to having the right people, right? So we went in and we brought in some people that have done it, just closed a significant IPO, a merger. So they were successful. And when you're raising capital and you're going with someone, they have their investor pool. They have their group of people that they go to, right? So if you're just going out net new and hiring someone and saying, I'm going to raise capital, you're in for a lot of work. So, and it literally took me like 7 to 9 months to figure that out. And then once I figured out that, hey, I'm just, throwing spaghetti and I want to be more surgical, we found the right team, and they raised the capital pretty much in short order, to the point where it was oversubscribed. We oversubscribed by 3 million. We ended up raising 8.
Nice.
And then, we plan on going into the B round this in 23, but with the amount of growth and everything that we were doing, I really wanted to knock it out of the park and decided to postpone the B round into 24. This way we would have, certain metrics, which for me, going to the B round, you have to understand what private equity or, if you're going high net worth individuals, angel investors, private equity, VC, where you go,
Yep.
you have to understand what their hard decks are and what they're looking for.
Yep.
And so I decided to postpone the B round because I wanted to be cash neutral, right? That was the first thing. I wanted to have over 5 million ARR.
Okay.
I wanted to have certain metrics, and the key metric for us that's really giving us the highest evaluation is our net retention value, right? People don't realize how much that plays into raising capital.
Oh, big time. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the first.
Right.
I mean, as soon as you tell the investors, like, oh, I have a contract with ABC municipality, and they're going to keep us for the next 25 years, like, super attractive.
Right.
Recurring revenue on somebody that's going to pay you.
Right. Oh yeah. So, we basically did what, an interim round, and we started it in late 22, and we were given a $80 million valuation,
Wow.
and we raised it at $2 a share. And that was oversubscribed. And the nice thing is pretty much majority of the investors were people that went in on the first round. They were doubling down.
Okay.
Right. So if you get good investors, you can always go back, so
Yeah.
if you're raising capital and look, shit happens in business. It's not your fault. And trust me, we've been kicked in the gut a couple times, and not faults of our own, just, situations that happen. But, being able to go back to that original core, and really that's going to bring us, by going in and doing that secondary round. That's really, we're now looking at our B round. We're about $150 million valuation, and we're going in between $3 to $4 a share is what we're looking at now.
And what are you going to raise?
We're raising between 30 to 50 million.
Wow. Okay. So congratulations. Let me ask you, that first 5 million, was that angel, PE, VC? What was that?
High net worth individuals.
Okay.
Right. So it was
family office type stuff, whatever.
No, it was funny because, one of our investors, was running a firm, and he was the manager, he was the manager of a private equity firm. And he goes, look, your numbers aren't there yet. We were under 2 million AR at the time when we did our first raise. And he goes, look, you know what? It's not for my firm, but I want to personally come in for 500,000. So never underestimate. The more people you talk to, it's like it's like dating. The more no's you get, the more yeses you get, right? So, and that really worked out for us. And we had some really, really good people that came in, that believed in what we're doing. We're saving lives.
Yes.
We're trying to make a difference. They believed in what we're doing. So it was good. Yep.
Congratulations. Sorry. Now, at this point, then, if you haven't already, your personal equity hold on the company now. I mean, you're at this point, you're answering to a board at this point.
No, I still own 67% of the company.
Okay, not after you raise 50 million, you won't.
Well, no. So after when I raise that, I'll be at 51% ownership.
Are you
at that point?
Are you shitting me? You're going to end up raising. You're going to end up raising another. What'd you say? 50 million on this next round? Is that what you said?
30 is the baseline. 50. Okay. 50 is the max. The 50 is the max. I'm going to go because I want to maintain 50. Because I want to maintain 51%. I have companies that want to offer me more, want to give me more money, but I'm not taking over that.
So. Yes, high five, and that is probably the biggest highlight of this episode so far. That's going to be the highlight clip right there. I mean, isn't that's such a great move, Ivo? I mean, I hope the listeners can really just let that sink in. Yeah, you could easily go out and probably raise more, but the reality is, and I know a bunch of business owners from my past, and I've had a shit ton of entrepreneurs and business owners on the podcast. And after you lose 51%, it's a different life for you as a founder. It's different. I don't care. Even at first, even if it's like, oh yeah, they're great partners, and you're in the first 6 months, the first 12 months of the honeymoon phase, no, it's all great. La 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 la. Yeah. Sooner or later, those guys call me back on it like, oh shit, man. Yeah, I'm just kind of an employee now.
Well, and again, it's, they're not going to share your vision, right? Because a lot of times they're just, they want to take your, revenue and put it onto the balance sheet of another company or combine it, do something. And they're not looking at your vision of what you're doing.
That's right.
So, everyone that we have talked to on this round, and we have about, I think we have over 10 companies now between private equity, family offices, strategics.
By the way,
in this round.
Oh, that one in this round. Okay, I thought you
that one to come in on the B round. Okay. And the first thing I do is, before I get into bed with you and before I take your money, I said, I want to know what you're bringing to the table. Yeah, you're giving me money. You do that all day long, but what's your Rolodex?
Yeah.
What else can you provide me?
Love it. Love it.
And the other thing is, everyone's like, oh, I want a board seat, I want a board seat, I want a board seat,
Yeah.
right? For me, the board is about putting people around me that have done it and know the bear traps, right? When I started Hunter Technologies, and going from a $2 million a year company to a $5 million a year company was completely different. When I went from 5 million to 10 million, that was completely different. Now, I'm going in, I'm raising, we're looking at, probably, in 3 to 4 years, I want $1 billion valuation.
Sweet.
To do that, again, you need to surround yourself with people that have done it before,
Yeah,
that
I
you can
agree.
go out to dinner with, that you can spend time with. The conversation are effortless, right? So, with everyone that comes out and wanted to do this round, the B round, they've come out to the office and they're like, we're gonna go out to dinner together. You're gonna come in the office, you're gonna meet everyone, you're gonna meet the staff, and we're gonna go out to dinner. Because if I can't eat with you, then I don't want your money. I don't want to have to deal with you on a daily basis, right? It has
It's
to
so,
be.
this is a really, I want to take a pause here. I couldn't agree more. For our day job at Riderflex, as an executive recruiting firm, I never place a C-level candidate with a founder or owner without suggesting that they bring that person to their home. In fact, I push it a little further. I'm like, have them over to your home with their spouse, with your spouse, for dinner in your home for a complete evening, and make damn sure this is going to be a healthy relationship, that you can really get along with the person and enjoy them as a human being. It's absolutely critical. It's just so critical. So I couldn't agree more. The break bread, I call it the whole break. You got to break, if you can't break bread with them, don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but anyone, especially at that C-level, director level, you need to be able to bounce stuff off. You don't want a yes man. You don't
Yeah.
want someone that's going to sit there and say,
Yeah.
and Jennifer will tell you half the ideas that I have. I'm texting her so I don't lose it, right? Like for me, with my ADHD, if I don't get it out really quick, it's gone. So like I'll text her at like 12:30 at night or 1 o'clock in the morning. And Jennifer confirmed this. I'll text her literally at 1:30 in the morning. Hey, I want to do this, this, and this. And literally within 10 minutes, she's like, okay, I got it. So,
I love
or I
that.
want to bounce an idea of someone. So you have to have, it again. And, I'm probably with the people I work with more than my wife, because
Yeah.
you got to get along with them. And it's about that personal connection and being
I
a
couldn't
family.
agree more. I couldn't agree more. I have my Jennifer is Brianna, and Brianna will also text me back and go, yeah, that's a dumb idea. She'll so what's the plan? We're wrapping up here. Are you just having fun? And not only are you making money, you're enjoying the people you're with, you're saving lives, you're putting out a service that's needed, all of which is awesome. Have you talked to your wife? Have you said, okay, once I get here, I'm going to sell it and we're going to
Well,
retire, or are you just having fun? What?
no, I mean, I'm that type of person that I can't, I like fishing. I like going out, but if I went on my boat and did it every single day, it would lose its luster, right? That's my decompression. So
Yeah. Yeah.
what I'm doing now is, I'm focusing really on the innovation and driving the
Okay.
company and the next tech that's coming out. I'm getting out of the minutia of the day to day, right?
Okay. Okay.
And my wife and I are traveling pretty much like once a month. So we'll go down,
Nice.
we'll go down to the Bahamas. We have a house and a boat down there. We'll go
Cool.
down, for like 1 week, and I'll work out of there a weekend a month, just to get away,
Yeah.
right? So
Nice. Nice.
but just stop working and it's never going to happen.
Okay.
Got to keep going. Hey, not only that, but
Yep.
I probably have about 17 more things that I want to develop for 911 form that are going to be game changing. And that's the
All
fun
right.
stuff,
All right.
when
Very good.
you sit there and you work hard and all of a sudden you get a letter from a parent saying that, what you did saved their daughter's life. It's the best thing in the world.
I mean, we could have gone deeper there with our conversation, but yeah, that is really, I mean, the business part of it is super exciting and fun and energizing, but man, knowing that you can save lives. I mean, nothing gets better than that, right? I mean,
No.
that's pretty cool. I mean, you're building a product that saves lives. Before you go, can I ask you kind of just switching gears for a minute? And before I do that though, I want to make sure for the listeners, 911inform.com, 911inform.com. If you guys want to learn more. I want to ask you, Ivo, totally switching gears. You're a tech guy, really. I mean, you owned a technology company for the last 30 years. What do you think's going to happen? We could probably do an hour on this question. The rapid lightning advancement of AI. Like, what do you think, man? Like, I mean, I'm just reading all kinds of reports and 40-50% of the job force of workforce affected, and AI advancing, and what are you thinking? What do you envision, my friend?
So AI, I think it definitely has its place. It's definitely going to change the world as we know it. For coding, it's not going to replace the out of the box thinking, right?
Okay.
It's not going to think of the next greatest idea out there. It's going to augment what you're doing. And in public safety, I think the greatest thing that you look at a metro area, you look at take any major city where when you dial 911, it could take from 30 seconds to 2 minutes for that phone to get answered. It's not because they're understaffed, it's because they're overwhelmed with calls. So I think that the biggest change in public safety is going to be the AI augmenting that call taking, and actually augmenting the situational awareness, right? Based on whether it be keyword scraping, that sort of thing, or detecting mental health issues, So there's a lot of things that I think it's gonna benefit us. Is it gonna be Skynet, and we're gonna have the T-1000 Terminators running around?
Are we gonna have to call Sarah Connor and all that,
exactly.
or what do you think?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. But I think, with the AI and what's going on, it's definitely augmenting programming. I think, from idea to development to GA, I think, AI is helping a lot in that. But again, public safety, AI is not going to, when a building's on fire or you're having a heart attack, AI is not going to get you there. It is not going to drive the ambulance there. It's not going to do anything to help you. It's about helping the first responders. And when I say first responders, it starts with the dispatchers, the person taking that call. To the police officer, the fire, the ambulance, EMTs, all of that. I think that's where the big revolution with AI is going to be in public safety.
Okay, very good. Well, sir, congratulations. The fact that you're going to raise this next round and still have 51%, you're my new hero. You're my new hero for the month.
Well, the other thing with that is, again, if you're going to raise capital, again, it's about, doing it smartly. Yeah. And again, understanding your audience. So a lot of the people that were raising capital, we're only doing, probably 10 to 15 million onto the balance sheet. And then the rest is going to be secondary. And what that means is original investors are going to take some money off the table. So this way you're getting cash into the balance sheet. The original investors, they came in at $1 a share. They're getting 3 to 4 times their investment within 2 to 3 years.
Awesome.
Everybody's happy. And that's happy. The way to
cool.
Right. And again, when you're raising capital, you got to look at what the long term is. When I started raising capital, I had a 3-year plan. And, again, we got kicked in the gut a couple times. We had
happens.
Some, but it's just, plan it out. That's the biggest thing. Plan long term.
I just thought of my last question. Does your wife ever roll over bed at night and say, "Hey, just so you know, if it wasn't for me, none of this shit would exist because it was my idea"?
I hear it every goddamn day. Every freaking day I hear that.
That's so good. Ivo, thank you so much for being on the Riderflex show. I really appreciate it, man.
Hey, listen, and the next time I come out there, next time I'm coming out to Colorado, I want Buckhorn Exchange. We have to go to Buckhorn Exchange. All
definitely.
Right? And have a dinner together. All right.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. That'll be awesome if we have some beers together. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate your time.